Hi, hello everybody. Today I decided that I am going to recap this new amazing show for you. It's called Heated Rivalry, and if you haven't seen it or heard about it, you are either very busy person or you live under the rock because it's been everywhere. So I was like, if you don't have time to watch it, I'm going to recap it. So if you don't know what Heated Rivalry is, it's a TV show about two hockey players, Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov, which are basically gonna fall in love, and we are going to watch them to do it. So let's dive right into it. We start in the year of 2008, which is very important because when we end this show, we end this in 2017. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the ride because it's almost 10 years of situationship. First episode starts in the year 2008 in Saskatchewan, which is basically the city chaperone wants to move in the subway, so a little fun fact there. We start with Ilya Rozanov. As you might hear, it's a Russian name. So we have this young hockey player from Russia who is lighting a cigarette, and who comes to meet him? Shane Hollander. Shane Hollander is Canadian, and he comes to introduce himself to Ilya, be like, hey, I'm Shane. Ilya is not very friendly at that point, but maybe it's just because he doesn't speak well English. And after a painfully awkward small talk, Shane is like, okay, I'm leaving. Ilya says, you won't be that nice when I beat you. And Shane answers, we will see about it, and this is basically their first interaction. Then we are moving to Canadian-Russian finale with these two very talented young players, where they are introducing them, and they basically just call out Shane's ass, being like, oh, he's not sociable, he's like very awkward, whatever, which we later on realize and find out. I mean, it's not implicated in this TV show, but I read it after. Then the author said that Shane is actually on the spectrum, so maybe that's the association there. And they call Ilya being like very strong, very rude, very competitive. So that's what we are taking away from this. This game is lost for Canadians. And next we are moving to LA, where like major hockey draft is happening. The number 1 is Ilya, number 2 is Shane. We can see that he's not very happy about it, but he's being booked and busy because he's signed to Montreal to play for them. Who is also booked and busy is Ilya because he is getting signed to Boston. During these scenes we are also introduced to Ilya's father, who is very strict man, very authoritative, just the vibes are not there. He talks to Ilya in a way like, don't talk, just listen, do what you have to do. And this whole dialogue, not even dialogue, it's monologue basically, we just hear Ilya's father, is making Ilya feel very small. After this, Shane can't fall asleep, so he decides that it's time to go to the gym and train a little bit. As he's there, guess who comes to the same gym because also can sleep? It is Ilya. They are both pretty competitive actually. They're both cycling on the cycling machines. I don't know, I don't go to the gym, so. But yeah, they are very competitive. They are out of breath when they are done, so they go to sit down. They sit against each other. Ilya has water, he is drinking it. Shane is like almost dying. There is this moment when Ilya is giving his bottle to Shane, or even back when Shane is giving it back to Ilya, when it's like. Then we are moving to 6 months later, when we can see Ilya getting call from his brother, who is basically very rude to him and asking him for money. Then he gets a call from his father, who is scolding him, and basically this typical Slavic parent talk, being like, I don't care about the others, I care about you, you need to get better, you lost. And he's like, oh, how could you lose with Czechs? which, you know, I'm not from Czechia, but I'm very close, so I'm like a little bit patriotic about that. Like, what are you talking about, Mr. Ilya's father? And so we can see just Ilya being very down from that. Then we are moving 6 months later, which, you know, in this whole show there is a lot of time jumps and, you know, just going back and forth. We are now 6 months later in Toronto when Shane and Ilya are doing some promo materials. They have this promo shoot when they just should go like this and the bag is in the middle and just like should, I don't know if you can imagine, I'll put image here. Then after this shoot, you know, they are doing this, they are trying to be very serious, but then they end up having a lot of fun. Then after this shoot, Ilya asks Shane, when did you find out we are doing this promo together? Shane answers like 2 days ago, probably. When did you? And Ilya admits that it was all his idea to do this together. Now we are going to the first explicit scene in this, because this show is also very, very explicit. Like, very explicit with what's going on there. I can't even describe it on here. But basically, they are in the bathrooms, you know, both naked. They don't do anything together, but like, you know, you can think about it. You can watch it if you're that interested. After this, Shane is like, can we forget about this? Ilya is, no, you're not a good liar. What is your room number? He tells him his the room number. Ilya is, okay, I might come later. Shane answers, okay, I might open the doors later. So later we have Ilya coming to Shane's room where they start kissing, and we find out that this is the first time Shane is doing something like this, but for Ilya, he also been there, done that with Russian's trainer's son. A little experiment. Then we have another explicit scenes and Ilya is okay, bye, I'm out of the door. Then we are doing another time jump, this time to 3 months later, and that's when I realized that we are really in like 2008, 2009 at this point, because Shane is watching Ilya on his like this oldest phone, you know, like, which is crazy because that was such a long time ago. Oh my god, I wish we could go back. But yeah, he watches him on his phone, where Ilya is very cocky, being like, oh, I said that I'm gonna do like 40 goals this year. Well, I meant 50. After this, Shane is meeting with his parents, who are also his managers, or I mean, at least his mom is his manager. When they talk about it, she's like, who does Ilya think he is? Have you seen this? Have you seen what he said? And Shane's like, yeah. He's not even subtle about it. Like, they didn't realize anything, but he's just... Next, we can see Ilya watching Shane this time on TV, doing some interview in French, which Ilya is like, okay, you're Miss Perfect guy, you know French. I mean, he's from Canada, you know, I don't think that's... If we were going surprised by something, I don't think this is it. But whatever, it's probably just to show that Ilya very feels like Shane is this perfect person while he has troubles at home with his father, with his brother, with stuff going on. Then we are at the hockey game, the end of hockey game. Shane is sitting like here, there are his colleagues, and Ilya goes by basically like, oh, this is my room number. Shane's colleague is like, what did he want? What's going on? And Shane's like, oh, nothing, just shit talking. Nothing's going on. Which Scott, as we found out later, his name is Scott Hunter, he answers that he has a room next to Ilya. Then we have Shane coming to Ilya's room when he's like, oh, I know that Scott has a room next to you. So they do explicit stuff, but not that much of explicit stuff, and that's the time when they switch phone numbers. Ilya is called Lily, and Shane is called Jane. And they decide that they're gonna meet in Boston, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's in Boston. And 2 weeks later, we are in Boston, where Ilya and his colleagues are supposed to play against Shane's team, but the weather is very bad, so everything's cancelled, and He goes home. When he comes home, he sees Svetlana, which we find out that is his childhood friend from Russia. And she basically is like, I'm here. And they do a little bit of explicit stuff, very just a little bit. Oh, during this, Shane is on dinner with his colleague. He's texting Ilya like, okay, so next time, I guess. After this, we are going to LA again, where is the award show of Rocky for the season going on. Shane wins. Then he finds Ilya on the balcony, and he's like, why can't you be happy for me? I haven't seen you, blah, blah, blah. Ilya is very, has stuff going on. And he kind of snaps and he's, okay, whatever, I'm here, you're here, you came to enjoy the view, I don't care. Then Shane is visibly confused, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Ilya comes to him, starts kissing him. Shane goes mad because like, we are in public, what are you doing? So he leaves, and that's the end of first episode. We start the second episode called The Olympians in 2011. We can see Shane running in Toronto, Ilya running in Moscow, which also I'm like, what about the time zones though? Whatever, Ilya texts Shane, are you still mad? No answer. Then we are moving to winter 2012 when Ilya texts Shane, hey, and literally I'm quoting, do you want to come while in Boston? Shane's like, oh, did you use like Google Translate? Like what's with the grammar? Like what's with the sentence? And Ilya just answers, no, this is what I wanted to write. Like read that again. Then we are moving to spring 2012 when Ilya texts Shane, hey, why are you not at the playoffs? Shane just answers basically like, oh, fuck you, Lily. That's, all because he's not mad about what happened. No. Then we are moving to winter 2013, which they are basically kind of sexting at this time. And we can see the game. It's Ilya versus Shane, or like Boston versus Montreal. Shane wins. Ilya comes to see him. Shane is a little bit mad about the sexting. And then they do explicit stuff. They cuddle a little bit. And Ilya is, okay, bye, I'm leaving. After this, we are moving to the Olympic Games in Russia. Then we can see Shane sitting in the cafe and his two colleagues, the Scott Hunter and another one, see him from the window when they're passing by. So they're like, okay, we can sit with him. They sit together, and during this time, like, two moments happen. First one is Shane is like, I have this friend of mine who is doing the ice skating here, we should go and watch him. And his colleague, not Scott, the another one, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, is like, oh, he is brave because I guess he is gay, and which also like, but okay, which is very brave to show his face in Russia. And these two moments are happening. First one, Shane is like, oh, okay. And the second moment, I will tell you in the next episode. They decide to go to watch Shane's friend. As they are watching him, Shane sees Ilya from across the stadium. He decides to go and confront him about not answering his texts. He goes there. Ilya is not really in the mood. He's like, I'm not answering your text, whatever, bye, just like leave. And that's it. That's basically it. Then we are moving to the scene where Ilya is with his father, who is again very strict, very not really the motivational coach you want to see when you're feeling bad. But we also are introduced to his possibility of having dementia, because he asks Ilya who tied his tie, and he's like, your mother, like she doesn't know how to do that. But Ilya's mother is dead, so Ilya is like, hey, like, mom is dead, you know that, right? And the father goes like, yeah, I meant your stepmother, right? Which leaves us with this kind of weird vibe, because you can see that Ilya is very concerned for his father, but also he's not acting the best towards him, his father, towards Ilya. So he's probably being really like, what's going on? Just like the internal fight of what you should feel. Then they go to this event where he is standing next to his father and some another man, just not really feeling it. But Svetlana then comes and takes him like, hey, let's go here. They go to some like very fancy bedroom, you know, like we are in Moscow. Then he meets his past fling, the son of a trainer, who wants to kiss him later on and like do some stuff, which Ilya is like, no, thank you. That's it. Like, no, I'm not interested. Then we are moving to summer, back to the West Coast again to Las Vegas for some award show where Shane and Ilya are the presenters. Shane then goes into the bathroom where Ilya follows him. He has this kind of crash out, being like, why haven't you answered any of my texts? What's going on? And after this, they meet in a hotel room where they do some more explicit stuff once again. And after this, they actually have kind of a talk instead of just leaving immediately, where Shane asks Ilya if he is going back home to Russia for summer, if he even likes it there, and we can see Ilya being like very uncomfortable with this topic and just like telling him to leave it. Then Shane is leaving. We can see him in elevator trying to send a text message to Ilya, basically being like, we haven't even kissed, like, see you next year, whatever. He decides not to send anything, and that's the end of second episode. Third episode is called, we are starting with a scene where we are in Russia for the Olympics. Shane is sitting in a cafe. Scott and his colleague are going to sit with him. They talk about the ice skating, and their colleague said about being a gay in Russia. And the first moment was that Shane was like, this time we can see that Scott is also like. So then we are took back 4 months. So 4 months ago, we are in New York City. Scott is running and he sees this smoothie place where he meets Kip, who talks to him and he gets him a smoothie. We can see how they look at each other. They are very interested in each other. And as Scott is leaving, some man who's coming in is like, was that Scott Hunter? And Kip is like, who is that? So then we can see Kip and his friend Elena in a bar watching hockey game when he is visibly crushing on Scott, which is like, yes, finally, like we have a representation of what it's like to have a crush and not being nonchalant. The next Saturday, Scott also comes to this smoothie place when he's like, can I work here for a bit? He works there, Kip is there, they got to talk, and they are talking about these kind of rules in hockey, what like you can do, what you can't do. And they are talking something about shaving, and Kip is basically like, oh, you look so sexy, you all look so sexy when you don't shave. Which was like, even Scott was like, okay, do you want to come to my game? Like, wasted no time, like, I have free tickets, do you want to come and see me play? Which was like, oh yeah, we are coming, him and Elena. Then during this game, we can also see Shane, who comes up to Scott and says something along those lines of, the next time we are playing, I hope you show up, or something like this. And Scott goes, oh, you starting to sound like him. When Shane's like, who is him? And of course, he means Ilya. And they get into a fight. The Kip is at his another work, which is being a waiter. He waiters at this fancy event where also Scott is at. And Scott asks him if he wants to hang out later, go get some food or something. He was like, yeah, let's go. So after the work, he waits for him. They want to go try some place, but the line is very long there, so Scott just goes, what about ordering? Like, do you want to go to my place? Of course, Kip is like, yes, let's go. They do explicit stuff, and in the morning, Kip is making breakfast for Scott, and Scott has this great monologue about, I really like you, I want to be with you, but I am not going to tell anyone that I'm gay. Like, if you can wait a few years until I'll be in retirement, then maybe, you know, I'll go out with you. Or I will come out, basically. And this scene, I understand that for some people it is romantic. You know, even my friend was like, oh, that was amazing. For me, if someone did this to me, I would be running out of the place so fast, because you literally met like 2 times that you talked properly. So next thing, we have them moving in together, people saying to Kip, like, he kind of vanished, like, where are you? Like, his father being like, oh, you're never at home anymore. What's going on? But he can't say that they are dating, so he has to come with some excuses. And then what we have is Scott and Kip being at home, Kip going through, because he is very interested in art, so he's going through some website of a gallery, like, look what they have, and Scott is like, oh, I'm gonna buy you one of these paintings. So they decide to go to the gallery, and while being in the gallery, Scott is fully trying to be undercover, you know, like cap, sunglasses, everything. And there is this scene when someone just like closed the door loudly or something, and he's fully in like, oh, someone's gonna attack me mode, which you can see he's genuinely not okay with being in the public and very paranoid and everything. A few minutes later, they are looking at the painting, and he just leaves because the woman comes in and she's like, do you want to buy something? I was just looking at it, and he just feels like it's too much, so he leaves. They get home. He explains to Kip like he is not ready. And then Elena, Kip's co-worker, confronts him. She's like, she figured out what's happening. And she's like, babe, why are you doing this? Like, why are you being kept in a secret? Like, you don't want this? What's going on? And after this, they are invited, Kip and Elena, to some gala by Scott, where they have to act like they don't know each other. Elena takes Scott dancing, and she's like, hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but Kip is very sad, and he's just not taking it well, because you're keeping him secret, and he deserves the best, and you also deserve the best, so what's going on? So that's the talk. When they got home, Scott and Kip is like, my birthday party is coming up, do you want to come as friend? Just as friend? Do you want to come to the party? And Scott just basically, no, I can't, I'm sorry. So Kip just decides to leave and go home, which he's very, very sad about. Like, he cries to his dad, and then we can see this scene, very aesthetic scene, where he is having a birthday party and Scott just watches him through the window. So that is the end of 3rd episode.